Have you done any debates on God's existence?
Not that I'm thinking of.
You did. Oh my gosh. I just want to give you a shout out here because in much the same way that I never would have thought that William Lane Craig, would have done so well against Hitchens, because Hitchens is so fun and cute and clever. I remember not wanting to watch that debate when it came out because I was so afraid of seeing another Christian apologist be decimated again.
Oh.
In the same way, seeing you debate Bart Ehrman, I was like, all right, here you go. You've got this renowned in certain circles scholar who's used to debates and is used to debating heavyweights. I wasn't sure how it would go. You absolutely trounced him, if I can say that with charity towards Bart Ehrman. I was shocked. I couldn't believe how well you did.
Well, thank you.
So I guess my question is, do you agree? And did you think you would do so well?
I thought I would do well because I in thinking through any debate, I think through it strategically before I do it. What is my opponent going to say? How am I going to respond? What's my overall strategy and approach going to be? And I realized that Bart has a fundamentalist background,
right?
And that affects what he considers reliable when it comes to Scripture, because he has an approach where if everything is not literally true,
yes,
and literally precise in its details, then he's going to say it's unreliable. But that's a ridiculous standard for reliability. If I have a friend, my friend doesn't have to be literally accurate in all the details in everything he tells me to be a reliable friend.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let's come up with a reasonable standard of reliability. Well, it can't be percentage-based because we could tally up the number of different claims the Gospels make. He and I were debating on, are the Gospels reliable? And so we could go through the Gospels and make a list of everything they claim, and then we could get in a time machine and go back and see which ones they're right on and establish a percentage, like say it's 90% correct or whatever when taken literally. Except there's one problem. We ain't got a time machine. So we have no independent way of calculating percentages here. So what we can do instead as a reasonable estimate of reliability is say, well, are the Gospels reliable when they make big, important claims? And are they reliable when they make intermediate claims? And are they reliable when they make small, detailed claims? And if we can show that the Gospels are right in big, important claims they make, and in lots of intermediate claims they make, and in lots of minor claims they make, then that gives us a general sense that the Gospels are reliable until such time as we see them being wrong on a comparable set of issues. And so what I did was I said, let's use Bart's own work against him. So I went through Bart's works, and one of his books in particular, and found where he agrees that the Gospels are right on all these major claims. And he agrees the Gospels are right on all these intermediate claims. And he agrees the Gospels are right on all these minor claims. And he's actually only criticizing a handful of minor claims. So he has not, even if we grant him that the Gospels were not right about these minor claims, which I don't grant, but even if we were to grant that, it doesn't counterbalance the dozens of things he agrees they're right about. And so Bart Ehrman himself concedes the data that shows the Gospels are reliable. Well, I knew that he wasn't going to be able to argue against that. That puts him in an impossible position of disavowing his own work. So he's going to, he could quibble and say, well, I changed my mind on a couple of these points. But he's got to acknowledge he has said that this stuff is reliable. And so I knew he agreed to that. I put him in this terrible position because using his own words to prove his case. So I knew I was going to do well. What I didn't know was how mad I was going to make him. Because
you made him mad?
No. I didn't know
Oh,
Because
I see. Prior. You weren't sure how he was going to react to that.
Exactly. Because I've seen instances where he turns really cold and really angry and is ruthless in debates. I was watching one debate that he had with James White, where now Bart Ehrman is a world-class textual scholar. I mean, he worked with Kurt Allen, who was the guy behind modern manuscript science in the mid 20th century, and Bart Ehrman he is top rung when it comes to manuscript science. Well, in this debate with White, White at one point tried to make himself sound superior to Ehrman on a textual matter, and Ehrman flipped and became incredibly cold and raked James White over the coals in the cross-examination period. So you took this position on this. Can you name all of the world-class textual scholars that you know that take your position? And he can't really come up with the kind of names that Ehrman is asking him for. Can you see these other names here that Ehrman personally knew, are taking this other position that's contrary to yours? And it was humiliating for White to watch Ehrman do this to him. So
you say cold, but it doesn't sound inappropriate, though. It sounds very appropriate.
But it was ruthless.
I see.
And I didn't know. I didn't want to get in that same kind of situation. And so, because it's possible for him to pull credentials on me and say, well, I'm this world-class textual scholar. You're not.
Yeah.
I have my own expertise, but that puts me in a defensive position.
Yes.
So what I knew was I'm going to use Ehrman's own words against him to prove my case.
Yes.
But I need to do it in the friendliest possible way, because I don't want to offend him, and I don't want this to become a peeing match in front of the audience. So I pre-planned elements in my presentation to be positive to Bart.
Like when you gave him a high five.
Exactly. That was one of the pre-planned ones. Yeah. As I was going through the major claims of the Gospels, one of them, Jesus existed. And so, who else said that? Bart Ehrman. Let's give Bart Ehrman a big hand.
Right.
I talked about his book that he'd written against Jesus mythicists, acknowledging that Jesus existed. I walked over, said high five, gave him a high five.
Right.
Got him a round of applause. Yeah. I gave him a hug at one point. Okay. All of this was stuff that I had thought of as ways of trying to keep the emotions friendly.
Yeah.
While I'm at the same time being as devastating as possible to his case. So, and that's part of my philosophy. I want to argue as apologetically, as rigorously as I can. Yeah. But I don't want to be humiliating about it. I want to be effective, but I want to be positive and personable. Yeah. And so that's why I took the approach I did. So I knew that I would do well. I didn't know if I'd be able to keep him keep things friendly. Yeah. But I was, and that was great. My suspicion is that I've done better against Bart than other Christian apologists.
I would say
on this issue. He privately, now we had agreed to debate the proposition the Gospels are not historically reliable, with the word "not" in there, because normally it's the other way around. Yeah, and I think it's fair to put the burden on the skeptic for once. Yeah. It doesn't always need to be the believer who has the burden. Let's put the burden on the skeptic for once and see how well he can defend that position. Yeah. So Bart had to take the lead, and then I just had to critique him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's perfectly fair. It doesn't matter which way a position is framed. It can be argued either way. Well, the first thing that Bart said to me privately as soon as the debate was over is that that he didn't like the framing of the debate because it required him to prove a negative.
He said that to you privately after the debate?
Yeah. Yes, while we were still on stage.
Oh, really?
And that told me...
That almost sounds like an admission. Like I just lost this debate. Yeah. I wish...
What it told me is he didn't do as well as he had hoped he wanted, because if you have done as well as you hope to do, the first thing you say privately is not to criticize the way the debate proposition was framed.
Yeah, that you agreed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well done. I want to tell you about a course that I have created for men to overcome pornography. It is called strive21.com/Matt. You go there right now, or if you text STRIVE to 66866, we'll send you the link. It's 100% free, and it's a course I've created to help men, to give them the tools to overcome pornography. Usually men know that porn is wrong. They don't need me or you to convince them that it's wrong. What they need is a battle plan to get out. And so I've distilled all that I've learned over the last 15 or so years as I've been talking and writing on this topic into this one course. Think of it as if you and I could have a coffee over the next 21 days and I would kind of guide you along this journey. That's basically what this is. It's incredibly well produced. We had a whole camera crew come and film this. And I think it'll be a real help to you. And it's also not an isolated course that you go through on your own, because literally tens of thousands of men have now gone through this course. And as you go through the different videos, there's comments from men all around the world encouraging each other, offering to be each other's accountability partners and things like that. Strive21, that's strive21.com/Matt, or as I say, text STRIVE to 66866 to get started today. You won't regret it.